Hello, everyone. Hope you are well. Happy Monday to you after the weekend. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. I watched some professional disc golf yesterday, which sounds kind of lame, but let me tell you, it was incredible. I really enjoy watching those guys. Okay, check out this article. CNBC, Janet Yellen sounds warning about extremely inefficient Bitcoin. The irony. And one of the main reasons I wanted to highlight this article, because we see the global elite, the World Economic Forum, the IMF, whenever they talk about Bitcoin, it's always the same thing. Oh, it's just used by criminals. It's just used by terrorists. It's just used by drug dealers, blah, 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 blah. And it's just this fear that they try to sell. I guess, fear has been a great way to manipulate the masses throughout history, especially recent history. We look back at, or current, what's going on in our current society with the cerveza sickness. And these global elite, they're going to use fear more and more to try to manipulate us into believing what they want us to believe. But there were a couple other interesting points to this article. It's kind of, there's several layers here. So Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen issued a warning Monday about the dangers that Bitcoin possesses or possess both to investors, or poses, both to investors and the public. Despite a sharp slide in the price, cryptocurrency trades 53,000. Elon Musk's Tesla recently made a substantial purchase. And then, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Musk said that it was overpriced or whatever. Same thing he said with his stock. Who knows? Maybe the same thing will happen. But so the price went down by 10%, which would lead me to believe that there's a lot of people, not a majority, but there are quite a few people that are holding Bitcoin right now that are definitely not hodlers. They're there just to make a fast buck, and they're just following whatever Elon Musk says and just getting emotional about it. So, but that's why it only goes down 10%. And again, I want to be very clear. I'm not claiming that the majority of people that own Bitcoin or entities are, going to sell it based on what Elon Musk says. But the fact that it goes down 10% does show you there's some weak hands, let's say, in the market, or people that are owning it just because they think it's going to go up in price and they think they're going to get rich. So moving on, she told Andrew Ross Sorkin, "I don't think that Bitcoin is widely used as a transaction mechanism." Okay, I mean, that's a fair statement. Currently, you could argue that, I think. To the extent it is used, I fear it is for illicit finance. Here we go. Right down the fear. As if the dollar isn't used for illicit finance. I mean, come on. Jeez. Isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? I mean, someone that was in charge of the Federal Reserve. Are you kidding me? Forget the dollar. The central banks, how are they not used for illicit finance? I mean, geez. It's an extremely inefficient way for conducting transactions, more energy. Yeah, okay, fair argument currently, but I don't know that the specific use case that we see for Bitcoin right now. Not saying that's what it's going to be in the future, but the current use case really is transactional. Then they go on about Bitcoin. Okay, we get that. And here we go. Additional consumption concerns. Bitcoin also is considered to be a tool of those involved in a number of illegal activities because because it's difficult to trace. Again, is there any group that could be accused of using the dollar for illegal activities, or central banks themselves. I mean, are they not all? I'm not going to say they're criminals. I'm not going to go that far because for the most part, they're abiding by the law, but their activity is far more damaging, I think, than most illegal activity. And I would also argue that what they did back in March of 2020 was definitely illegal, and that was against the Federal Reserve Act. When they go in there and buy junk debt, I know they did it through a special purpose vehicle, but if you look at the spirit of the law, which has to count for something, that was completely antithetical to the spirit of the Federal Reserve Act. So I think they've done some illegal things there. But moving on, she talks about how it's highly speculative, and I do worry about the potential losses that investors can suffer. Really, but you want to create 2% inflation, which would mean that the entire society, every single American, suffers losses compounded at 2% per year. So it's fine to strive to have a goal for the average American to lose 2% of their purchasing power every year, but you're really worried about the small amount of Americans that own Bitcoin suffering losses. Again, it's just the lack of self-awareness is pretty staggering when you're listening to what these global elite have to say. I heard Klaus, I didn't hear him, but I read a quote from him saying something to the effect that they need to make a change because not they, but society needs to make a change because people are losing confidence or don't have any confidence in the global economic elite, as though he wasn't one of them. He was saying that like he's on the side of the little guy, and that he's, the little guy is getting pissed off, along with Klaus himself, at these global elite. It's like, dude, are you kidding me? You're like the head of the pyramid. You are the top of the totem pole as far as the global elite. The people that don't like the global elite, they don't like you, dude. Like, how do you not recognize that? But again, it's just the lack of self-awareness. Here we go. This is where it kind of takes a turn that I found interesting and revealing. Various government agencies have contemplated the idea of making an alternate digital currency with the hopes that it would open up global payment system to those who don't have access. In other words, central bank digital currencies. The Federal Reserve, where Yellen once served as chair, has studied the issue and discussed the possibility of a new digital currency, the digital dollar. Along with payment systems, it expects to roll out over the next several years. I mean, you can read that a couple different ways. Are they taking what Janet Yellen is saying, paraphrasing it, and saying that they're most likely going to be rolling out a new digital currency over the next several years? Or are they just referring to a different form of payment system? And what would that look like? But the way they've got it worded, not that they can't make mistakes, it seems like they're paraphrasing what Yellen said to them or said in a press conference. It seems like they're making it out, or maybe they're interpreting it to mean that what they are discussing, the possibility of a new digital currency along with a payment system, it expects to roll out over the next several years. I mean, when I read that sounds to me like this is all systems go. Like there's no doubt the Fed is going to be rolling out the digital currency, a central bank digital currency, and payment systems and a whole like ecosystem around the digital dollar. It seems like that's a very definitive statement. I think that's what I'm trying to say. And then here's Yellen herself commenting on it. I think it, meaning a central bank digital currency, could result in faster, safer, and cheaper payments, which I think are important goals. So this is just a little bit of information that I think says a lot about where the government, the Federal Reserve, the Treasury, Janet Yellen, where they want to take us in the future. They want the central bank digital currency because they want to ban cash. They want to have complete control. They want to be able to micromanage everything. They want the data, and they want to not only control the supply side of currency, but they also want to control the demand side as far as lending and the spending side as well. That's what I see coming. You guys know that well. And I think this is just kind of, they're tipping their hand a little bit without giving it away. But I think if you read the tea leaves, you can kind of see the writing on the wall. It's not really a matter of an if question. I think it's more of a matter of when we get a central bank digital currency.